All right, here's your daily female wisdom dose.
I get and the more I'm dating, I'm really realizing you don't want a rich man, you want a generous man. And to me, generosity is so much more than financial. Generosity is, are you generous with your words? Are you complimenting me? Are you generous in the bedroom? Are you generous with your actions? Are you opening doors for me? Are you making me feel like a princess?
Okay, okay. You don't want a rich man. You want a guy that's willing to give you everything, right? That's what it comes down to. Give me compliments, validation for free. Let me run everything. Let me control your life. Be generous. Just let me have all of the control and none of the responsibility. Whenever girls ask and feel entitled to princess treatment, every time you know they're every single time. Because what decent person expects princess treatment? It's like the opposite of submission, right? All the best Disney princesses, they, especially the old era, right? They were naturally submissive and they were the best princesses, right? This is entirely natural. So I don't understand what changed all of a sudden to now girls want to be boss babes but still feel entitled to being a princess. Like, you don't get both. Okay? Don't you get it? You're not going to get both. Those are conflicting energies. You can't be a boss babe and be a princess at the same time. It doesn't work. It's never worked, and it will never work unless the guy you have is so optionless. He has no better options in his entire life. He's going to go around and he's going to cope with you because he's scared of losing you. And then you don't respect him anyway. So you accomplish nothing. It's almost like you're trying to teach the world a lesson. Like, see, I can do it all. And then it almost always ends in failure every single time. Or you end up like a Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith situation, which, yeah, they're still together, but I mean, is that really a success? Honestly? Anyway.
Are you generous with your communication? Are you calling me and texting me at a regular schedule? I have learned that a broke man can have no money, but he can be generous with absolutely everything else and everything within his means, and he can still make you feel like an absolute princess. And on the flip side, there are so many rich men that kind of come off as like covert generous because they're buying you things, right? Buying you an expensive dinner, a trip, a bag. But at the end of the day, they're always doing it for themselves and they're always doing it to get something out of you. True generosity is true generosity, doing something for someone else to see them happy and expecting nothing in return. I used to think that generosity could.
So, I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this. The whole point of being a rich man is you have a disproportionate amount of wealth, right? But you still have to earn it. If someone buys you a $100,000 car, it's still a $100,000 car. Whether a broke guy buys it or a rich guy buys it, why does it necessarily have to be different? Just because one guy can afford it easier because he has more abundance, and then you do a bunch of mental gymnastics to somehow determine that he's less generous because he has more and he should be giving you more proportionally speaking, doesn't make it any different. I don't understand. This is why you can't really, it's a better idea to not let them know how much money you have. Because otherwise, a lot of times they'll start pocket watching and they'll start judging how much you spend on them relative to how much you have. And a lot of times you start to realize that people that are financially good, they don't necessarily have a lot of their money in liquid. So yeah, sure, you could have $5 million, but if 4.9 are assets and you have 100,000 to your name, you're not going to go spending $100,000 on stupid shit just because you have $5 million to your name overall, right? Now, I understand she's trying to say, oh, but just because he's rich doesn't mean he's generous. It's like, once again, okay, the guy that's willing to give you way too much proportional to what he has is stupid. Because how are you supposed to have any actual security if a guy is going to give you a $50,000 ring when he has $100,000 in his account? This is stupid. This is not smart. This isn't generous. This is just plain and simply stupid. So what are you trying to say here? You're trying to encourage stupidity for the sake of your own power and control? I mean, it's exactly like those videos we see on any sort of social media platform. Like, I saw some reel where a guy was asking, how much money do you have in your account? And the guy's like, oh, $1,000. He just paid for an entire trip with him and his girlfriend. And the girl's like, oh, like 70,000. Guy's looking at her like, what? And she's like, well, you're supposed to pay, right? So this is this common scenario where girls will say this, but secretly they have all the power and the leverage. So they want to have their cake and eat it too. So how come in one scenario you're a boss babe, you're independent, but then you still soak up resources from a guy because that's just what he's supposed to do? None of it makes any sense. None of it does. So this whole mentality of this girl is just It's just flawed in every possible way. Like, you want a guy that's financially sound. Like, yes, you want him to buy you stuff, but buying you stuff is more about timing. It's more about how meaningful it is. It's not just about the dollar value. Once again, sort of destroying her argument in the first place. I don't know, man. These girls will think up all kinds of random bull just because they want to be princesses.
Could be taught, or it could be something that people could learn. But my hot take of the day is you either are generous or you're not. Because a guy who is generous will be generous with absolutely everything. Sure, the financial, but like I said, the actions, the words, showing up for you. And a guy who is stingy will be stingy with everything.
Absolutely not true. This is such a lie. There's times, I remember when I was way younger, I had no money, but I still spent a little bit of money on buying something within reason, of course. And okay, there's times where I didn't have money, but I still did other things. Like, I provided whatever, some sort of labor. Like, I created something, like I made something, for example, and I spent the time. So this is just some stupid bull. This is some stupid girl logic. Doesn't make any sense. If you're trying to make the right decision, it doesn't necessarily mean you're stingy with everything. You won't always be in a position to be able to provide the same thing. This is just girl cope to the max, honestly. I don't think this girl has said one thing that's even remotely close to a fact in this entire video. I swear.
They're not generous. They are not going to be generous with every single aspect of your life. And the reason I think it's so black and white is because if you're generous, you know to do things for other people to make them happy. You probably do that with your friends and with your family with expecting nothing in return. If you're not generous and you don't have that bone, you are constantly operating in a...
Okay, so I do agree that there is some people that operate based on transactions, right? But that being said, right, if someone is giving you, I guess what you're trying to argue here is unconditional love, I guess, which we know is fake, right? But let's just say someone's offering you unconditional generosity then, maybe not love. Let's just assume someone's being generous with you, okay? A lot of guys, they will be generous up until the point they realize this girl is just taking and not giving anything. So what, they're supposed to infinitely give with nothing in return? I mean, how stupid is this? It's expecting unconditional love in trade for conditional love. What stupid guy would buy into this? It makes no sense. So yeah, there are some guys out there that purely live transactionally. I'm not going to lie. There are guys out there that see women purely as objects to be used, right? Yes, that exists. But the majority of guys don't think this way. Okay, so because the majority of guys don't think this way, this idea that this is some common trend that all guys view things purely transactionally is just a blatant lie. It's just generally not true. All right. So yeah, I don't know where this idea comes from either.
State of transactions. And I actually don't think that there's a gray zone between how you see people. So for me, it's one of the most important things that I have now started to look for from the very beginning with dating a guy. Are you generous? Are you not? In all of those little ways. Let's choose wisely, ladies.
The point is, to summarize this entire 2-minute rant of a whole bunch of nothing from this girl, you must give me everything and never complain and never expect anything in return, but I will give as I see fit, and if I don't want to, I won't, and if I want to, I will. Conditional love on my end, unconditional love, or generosity, whatever way you want to view it, on your end. So basically, she wants a one-sided relationship. Let's just call it a servant. She wants a guy that's a servant. Let's just call it that. Not surprising at all. Another perfect example of a modern woman. Don't worry, there's many, many more to come. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. For more content, check the description below.